Okay, so when it comes to the foam roller, there's different foam rollers.
Yeah.
So this is just one of those white, cheapo foam rollers, 15, 18 bucks, whatever it is on Amazon, and it just has a fancy cover on it. That's all this is. And then you have a whole other selection of different foam rollers. There's the black one that usually is the hardest. There's ones from Trigger Point Performance that come with little nubs, and then there's more aggressive nubs. And which of those works best, we don't really know. But it's part of the conversation. But if you've got one, you use what you got, as opposed to spending 50 bucks on a new fancy one. But this is the cheapo kind of entry model. So generally, I'll be on the ground when I do this, but we're gonna do it here. And so if I take and I put my entire body weight on the hamstring like that, then this is as deep and as aggressive as I can go. And I go back and forth, and I try to keep my spine as straight as I can when I do this, as opposed to kind of just, doing this kind of bad rounding thing. So, everything chest up. And then what I think is best is that if we break the hamstring down into 3 different sections and roll each section individually. And you see kind of I'm rolling a bit more to the outside, or tilting my body more to the outside. That lets me get the outside part of the hamstring. And then if I come to the inside, it lets me get the inside part of the hamstring. And we should definitely explore all those guys. And then I'll just come up, work that middle section. And generally what I suggest is 10 up and downs. If you find an area that feels like it needs a little more attention, give it some more attention. And then if you want to get fancy, you can also bend and straighten the leg a little bit. And doing this on the edge of the bench is also another option that lets you do more bending stuff. So that's kind of the rolling the hamstring. So if I go to the end here, I don't know if you want to adjust the camera, or I get lost in the camera and not there. So here, now I can kind of be a little bit more stacked, especially if I kind of try and take my weight off of my feet, and then in this position, again, everything nice and straight, I can do some stuff where I bend and straighten the knee if I find a place that needs more work. And the other thing is that if you ever have an issue where it's too tender, then to do both legs at the same time as opposed to a single leg.
Yeah.
Or if you had a foam roller that was harder or had more nubs and you want it to be a little bit more gentle on yourself. Okay, so that's the foam roller. All that makes sense?
Totally, yeah.
Okay, so now the stretching. So there's the doorway stretch, and I already have done the doorway stretch on my YouTube video, so you can take a look at that. And that's essentially, you want to be really relaxed, and that's your go-to stretch. Or you're really injured in your back, and you want to not put stress on your back. So essentially, you're laying in a doorway, one leg's up, other leg straight. But the next step after that is usually the strap stretch. So, and typically I do this usually barefoot. So, strap goes over the foot, and then this is a little bit too short for me, so I gotta lengthen it. And so what you want to do is you want to get your hands in here and twist it around so you can really grab hold. And all this extra surface area in contact with the hand means that you have to work less hard, and it's more easy for you to relax. So we would do this kind of like this and try and keep everything again nice and straight, nice and tall. And this stretches the main part of the hamstring. Then, if we want to get more to the outside part of the hamstring, we come down a bit, and making sure that the pelvis stays down, we bring the leg across and then we come up. And I'm going to just demonstrate what you shouldn't do is that you shouldn't do that, because as soon as you do that, you're not stretching the hamstring. And then we can stretch the inside of the hamstring by coming here and then doing the same thing, coming up, and I'm gentle, and that lets me get the inside part of the hamstring.
Okay.
In general, when we do the hamstring stretch stuff, most of that focuses generally on the whole hamstring. And then if we want to be a little bit more focused and also more active, and there is some research telling us that stretching in an active way makes more sense because it generally relaxes the hamstring by contracting the quads because they're antagonists, and that's just how the nervous system is wired. So you come here and straighten and hold. And then that way you're doing more active. And so that's kind of the progression. So we did the doorway, the strap, the active on your back stretch.
Yep.
And then we can come to more active stuff. So if you want to spin the camera here, so if I do kind of something like a down dog, where I bring my butt back with some support,
Yep.
and then I straighten my knees to get those hamstrings again. And it's important to keep the pelvis forward and not let the pelvis get that way. And if you are feeling that, you bend the knees more, get yourself into that position and bring yourself back.
Cool.
Then the next stage is to do it single leg. And single leg is really more like movement, like gait, like running.
Yeah.
In that everything's nice and stacked, nice and strong. I bend the knee. And then I come back with this idea that I'm keeping the spine straight and I'm coming forward, and I can again have a support here to do it. And so this becomes a really great hamstring stretch because you're eccentrically lengthening the muscle, you're controlling your balance,
Yep.
and that's really where, because you're bringing all this neuromuscular stuff into that together.
Yeah.
All that makes sense?
Totally.
Too much?
No, I think I
No?
got it. Yeah.
Okay.